David Anderson was a man whose name echoed through the tall glass towers of the city. He was a self-made millionaire, a symbol of success, discipline, and relentless ambition. From humble beginnings, he had built a business empire that stretched across industries, real estate, tech, and luxury goods. To outsiders, David had it all: wealth, status, and power. Yet what people didn't see was the price he had paid for his empire. Every board meeting, every negotiation, every contract signed meant hours, days, and weeks spent away from his family. His wife often complained about his absence, but what broke her heart most was how little time David spent with their only son, Ethan. Ethan was 5 years old, a boy with hair as golden as the morning sun and a smile that could light up any room. But Ethan's childhood wasn't as carefree as most children's. Born with a condition that affected his legs, he had been walking with the help of crutches since he could take his first steps. It wasn't easy, but he had the heart of a fighter. His biggest dream was to run across the garden without crutches, to play like every other child. But in David's busy world of deadlines and investors, he barely noticed these struggles. To him, Ethan's needs were always something he would deal with later, after the next deal, after the next million. On this particular day, David was scheduled to be out of the country on a week-long trip. His employees thought he was still abroad, his family thought he was returning at the end of the week, but fate had different plans. An urgent deal fell through, and David caught an early flight back home. The chauffeur drove him through the wide iron gates of his mansion, a sprawling estate surrounded by perfect hedges and fountains. As the car came to a stop, David stepped out, adjusting his tie, his expensive shoes clicking against the stone pathway. He expected to walk into a quiet home where staff went about their duties in silence. But as he neared the front entrance, faint sounds drifted from the garden. Curious, he followed. What David saw stopped him in his tracks. There, on the stone pathway near the fountain, was Ethan. The little boy stood with his blue crutches, wobbling slightly as he tried to move forward. His eyes were fixed on a small puddle blocking his way. He seemed nervous, unsure if he could make it across without slipping. Beside him was Maria, the housemaid, dressed in her simple blue uniform with a white apron tied neatly around her waist. She was kneeling on the ground, her knees pressed into the damp pavement, carefully spreading a rug across the puddle. Her voice was soft but firm, filled with encouragement. "Go on, Ethan. You're stronger than you think. Don't look at the puddle, look at me. Step on the rug, and I'll be right here if you fall." Ethan's small hands gripped the crutches tighter, his little arms trembling. Sweat dotted his forehead as he placed one foot forward. Step by shaky step, he made his way across the rug, guided by Maria's steady gaze. The moment his foot touched dry ground, Maria clapped her hands and smiled. "You did it. See? I told you, you're braver than the puddle." Ethan's eyes lit up, his face breaking into the kind of smile that could melt the coldest heart. "One day, Maria, I'll walk without these. I'll run," he said with innocent determination. David, standing in the shadows, felt a wave of emotions he hadn't expected. His chest tightened, and his polished world of wealth seemed to crumble in that instant. Here was his son, fighting battles every single day, battles David had never even taken the time to witness. And here was Maria, a maid who was paid to clean and cook, yet she had become a mentor, a teacher, almost a second mother to Ethan. She wasn't just serving the family, she was serving with love. For the first time in years, David felt small. He had always believed his millions were the shield protecting his family, but watching Ethan and Maria, he realized that real strength wasn't built on money. It was built on patience, sacrifice, and love. He thought of the endless boardrooms, the clinking of champagne glasses at corporate parties, the applause he received at award ceremonies. All of it felt hollow compared to the simple moment of a boy stepping over a puddle with courage. Maria, unaware of David's presence, knelt beside Ethan and adjusted his crutch. "You know," she said gently, "a strong man isn't the one who has the most money or the biggest house. A strong man is the one who never gives up, no matter how hard life gets. That's who you are, Ethan. Stronger than any millionaire." Those words struck David like lightning. He felt a sting in his eyes as tears threatened to fall. For a man who prided himself on control, it was an unfamiliar weakness. But it wasn't weakness, it was awakening. He realized he had been chasing numbers while missing out on the true wealth right in front of him. He placed his hands on his head, overwhelmed, his expensive suit suddenly feeling like a cage. His heart raced, his mind flooded with regret. How many moments like this had he missed? How many milestones of Ethan's growth had gone unseen because he was too busy making more money? The shame was unbearable. He wanted to rush forward, scoop Ethan into his arms, and thank Maria for her selflessness. But his feet were frozen, his pride wrestling with his emotions. The mansion that once symbolized success now felt like a prison of his own making. The fountains, the statues, the sprawling lawns, all meaningless compared to the sight of Ethan's trembling legs and Maria's nurturing smile. David whispered to himself, "What have I done? What kind of father am I?" He stepped back, his mind spinning, torn between walking away and stepping forward. He knew this was the beginning of something bigger than himself. His empire could wait, his millions could wait, this moment couldn't. And this is only the beginning of David's journey. What happens when he finally steps forward and faces Maria and Ethan? What will he say, and how will his life change after this moment? If this story has touched even a corner of your heart, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because Chapter 2 will show you how one man discovers the true meaning of wealth, and you don't want to miss it.